Hello everyone, welcome back. It has been a hell of a year for gaming, but I think we're going on the right direction in terms of what players demand. There are many twists and turns this year I did not expect. Let's start with January, with the only notable release being Donkey Kong Country Returns HD Remaster, that's a mouthful. Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battle Remaster, which is the first I have heard of this game when I researched for this video. A remaster of a game from the 2000 that is sort of a movie tie-in game for Star Wars Episode 1 back in 1999. Marvel Spider-Man 2 was released on PC with mixed response as the game was buggy and had performance issues. It seemed like it was rushed out of the door for some reason. Lastly, there is Sniper Elite Resistance. It's basically more Sniper Elite. Don't fix one ain't broken type of franchise, I guess. February is the time that the big players started coming out with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which people say is even more solid than the first, but sadly I was not able to play it. But looking at the award section in Wikipedia, they seem to be nominated, but sadly it's swept by a particular game in April. Another big game is Civilization 7 came out to mixed reviews. Fans of the series find it disappointing, and the sentiment I'm getting is similar to City Skylines 2 as it's broken at launch, so people would rather wait and just buy the complete edition in 2 to 3 years for a much lower price. And people keep noting that the UI is really bad for some reason. Another big game, Avowed, was released this month to an okay reception and thumbs up to just get it on Game Pass, because this game is $70, which is not a good trend. It's a mediocre game with bad optimization. Speaking of bad optimization, Monster Hunter Wilds was also released to like a million concurrent players to not even a tenth of that currently due to the bad performance. Are we starting to see a pattern here? It's only February. Going into March, Hazelight released another banger, Split Fiction, which I did a review of, and to summarize, it's basically It Takes Two but on steroids. They make it more coordination based and go even crazier in their gameplay design, which I did not think was possible. But a high also comes with its lows. I'm talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game in which Ubisoft tried to hide their sales figures from its investors. I wonder why.
The quarter was marked by the Assassin's Creed Shadows release that launched on March 20, delivering the second highest day one sales revenue in franchise history and setting a new record for Ubisoft day one performance on the PlayStation Digital Store.
What is the sort of hurdle rate that Assassin's Creed Shadows has crossed in terms of units sold? Thank you.
Yeah, so on Assassin's Creed Shadows, we don't disclose units sold.
They never actually said they sold 3 million copies and instantly dodged the question.
It released to a middling reception and people are just saying to play Ghost of Tsushima since that game is on PC anyway. Going to April, just like April Fool's Day, feels like a joke considering that The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Oblivion Remastered, and Days Gone Remastered was released on the same month. Look, I get it for Oblivion, but The Last of Us and Days Gone, really? These games still look good. But on the other side, the French was cooking, and it took over the world immediately. You know what I'm talking about. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game is a huge middle finger to AAA games, specifically Ubisoft, and it is run by their former employee. It makes you question what the hell has Ubisoft been doing. Clearly, it's not the fault of the employee working there. In May, Doom The Dark Ages was released. The game is said to be more Doom while also shaking up the formula. Make that of what you will. Elden Ring Night Rain. As if From Software wasn't done cooking, they released a multiplayer game with the gameplay of Elden Ring. If you like Souls gameplay and want to be the best of the best, be my guest, but it ain't for me. In June, the long-awaited and rumored Switch 2 was released, and with that also comes with the Welcome Tour that is sold for $10. That boils down to just a tech demo. Going along with the disappointing train, we have the most anticipated game of 2025 that is set to even rival GTA 6 because one of the producers worked on GTA, so obviously it's going to succeed. It flopped. I dare say it's even worse than Saints Row Reboot. You know why? Because Saints Row, we can see from a mile away that the DI is gonna kill it dead on arrival, but this? They were clowning themselves for even comparing to GTA 6. Walking to the next carriage, we have FBC Firebreak. Look, Remedy, I respect you and it is a fun game, but please stick to your single players. The game has too few players. And it's not like we're lacking multiplayer games here, okay? But a slimmer of hope shined through the disappointment. And Peak was released. Just like the title, it's Peak Gaming, an indie game of working together to hike up a mountain. Sadly, I have no friends to play with, so I have no idea what they're talking about. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach was also released, one of the most decisive game, as there's no in between. There are people who love it or hate it. For me, the first one was kinda meh. I thought it was unique, but is it necessarily fun? Debatable. Will I be playing this? Maybe, because people say it's way better than the first. So I really don't know. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know any game reading the list of games released in July, except for like Dune Awakening, an MMO game made by EA. Oof, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Wu-Chang Fallen Feather. This game is so badly optimized that the game patch lowered the render scaling and called it a day. And then there's Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is nominated for Game of the Year. Why? I'll never know, because I don't want nor will buy the Switch 2 for it. In August, Mafia and they went back to their roots of linear storytelling, learning from the mistake of Mafia 3, making it open world and doing repetitive tasks over and over again. Speaking of over and over again, Madden NFL 26 was released. Honestly, sports fans really just need to stop to get a better product. They are saving their money and dignity by voting with their wallets, and just stop buying yearly releases. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Delta Force was also released with mixed reception, as it is an overall good game, but their anti-cheat really drags this game down and is too aggressive that it crashes the game while not really being effective towards the actual gamers inside the game. Gears of War got a remastered version for their first game, while Konami released a remake of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, and it's actually good? Am I reading that right? Konami releasing a good game without Kojima? Wow, it's a miracle. Just like how the year suddenly turned September already, Hollow Knight Silksong suddenly got released and crashed a few storefronts for a few hours due to the high demand of the game. Hell Is Us also got released in a similar time window, and they complained that Hollow Knight's release was reckless as it could have affected their game sales. The selling point of Hell Is Us is that there is no map or markers to hold your hand as you play the game. Another major game that got released is Borderlands 4. While the overall game seems to be just more Borderlands, if you're a fan, good for you. But before you do, you need an RTX 5090 to run this game for any semblance of smooth gameplay. And even then, it's not really performing that well. Another major game is Silent Hill F, which is a new installment after so long. It's a game from Konami that has another positive reception. Oh, would you look at that? If I get a penny for every time Konami releases a solid game in 2025, I only get 2, but it's weird that it happened twice. And like tradition, October is a loaded month for some reason. Beginning the month with Ghost of Yotai, which is just more of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm waiting for a PC port. Battlefield 6 absolutely kicked the door down as it went back to its roots and made an overall solid game. Can't believe I'm saying that for an EA game. Little Nightmares 3 was also released with mixed reviews as the original developer moved to make Reanimal. And the current game developer is Supermassive, and they did not understand the assignment as they revealed everything about the world, when the mystery and open to interpretation aspect of the first 2 is what made it unique and memorable. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2 was finally released. I still remember wishlisting this game back in 2023, but at least it's finally released, and of course it missed the point of the original as it has passed on to many developers during its development hell. Ninja Gaiden 4 is a new installment in the franchise after many years. For the masochists out there, this is for you. Jurassic World Evolution 3 was also released this month, and again, it's just more park management with even better, bigger dinosaurs instead of conventional theme parks. And lastly, The Outer Worlds 2 is also released. If you enjoyed the first one, you are more likely to enjoy this one. Some people say it is an improved version of the first one. And of course, we have our sleeper games this year, which is Dispatch and Arc Raiders. Dispatch is an episodic game, Telltale style, without the samey feel, and has actual good writing. Arc Raiders is made by a former EA employees that managed to rival the player count to Battlefield 6. Wow, look at that. It's as if that giving time and creative freedom to developers actually made good products. Wow, who could have thought of that? After a pack-filled month that is October, November comes, and it is probably the biggest downfall of a franchise that is too big to fail. I'm talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 7. It is filled to the brim with AI slop, with a boss battle that resembles Skibidi that is charging $70 while it is on Game Pass, and Activision is surprised that the sales figures are so low. Even I could see that coming, bro. Meanwhile, NetEase released Where Winds Meet, that is free to play and it's not pay to win. You only need to pay cosmetics, and it also has a living breathing world that you can play with your friends. And did I say that it is free? And December is a relatively silent month as there's no notable games released, and we finally have a break to watch the Game Awards, or people like to call it this year Expedition 33 Awards, because they broke the record with 9 out of 13 awards. That is the most in history, beating The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, that's right, The Last of Us Part 2 don't deserve that spot.
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33!
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Jennifer English!
Laureat Testard.
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Expedition 33.
And the game of the year is mon ami Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
And I honestly think this year's Game Awards is one of the solid ones with nice pacing and good reveals like Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, a new Divinity game, and a new Tomb Raider games, at least at the top of my head. But we do need to tackle the elephant in the room, which is they ended the last reveal with a hero shooter called High Guard. And it literally feels like Concord 2 because the idea already is outdated and they're still making this type of games. Like, move on, please. With the formalities out of the way, personally, my gaming is that this year is truly the year of the Chinese dating games, as the rate at which they improve upon is astonishing. We even got 3 games from a single developer in a year. And I acknowledge that it is full motion video and not 3D graphics, but still, the rate at which they improve upon the story is ridiculous. Gameplay is mostly, it's just like that. I don't expect much. And I feel like Unreal Engine really get a lot of flack this year for a lot of unoptimized mess with so many stuttering and ridiculous high PC requirements and just overall incompetence from game developers leading to bad performances. Even though the graphics does not necessarily have generational leap in terms of quality, this year also marks how gamers are tired of the same old AAA shit and started to broaden the horizon to indie games and indie developers that are genuinely creative, and if anything, Claire Obscure's proved that. But sadly, we gotta end with a sad note. AI is ruining everything, with people getting replaced by it for voice acting, the coding, and the artwork. That's why we get 6 fingers in artwork now. Not only that, but they are ruining the hardware landscape as well, with rising prices of RAM and storage SSDs to be precise, which is stupid. When are investors going to realize that there is no profit that comes from AI? There is absolutely no return. But honestly, what a year. And we are now starting 2026 in a good note, especially on the hardware side of things. But at least the message is clear. People are getting tired of the same shit every year. So game developers better create something fun, creative, and unique. If not, people are not buying it. That's it. Happy New Year. I hope there is more good news coming at 2026. And let's start with the next video. I don't know yet.